And fast forwarding to today, being here at Binance Blockchain Week, and being an advisor to Binance's ICO, and having my dear friend put this on, it's really special for me to be here. So let's baseline a little bit in terms of what's happening, kind of the underpinnings of crypto, and kind of what's happening with blockchain and this new tokenized world. There's this old adage where money is power, right? It was typically reserved for the few. But now with the advent of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology and these tokenized assets, now money is technology. And so you fast forward that from the power centers and the decision making and some of those central authorities, now that power is technology. And it's technology, and it's in a format for the many. So democratized with access and privacy and security on the level of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. It's like that profound, that important. And you can transpose on money, you can transpose identity or data. It's all changing with the advent of crypto. It's pretty exciting. We're in 2019. I thought by now we'd be buying Starbucks with crypto and it'd be a lot different future. We've made a lot of progress, but I really like this this quote by Bill Gates in terms of what we think we can accomplish in a year versus a decade. And I think that's very apropos for the crypto space. Looking back at 2008, when Satoshi Nakamoto launched the white paper on October 31st, 2008, launched the network earlier this month, 10 years ago, and really started this journey that we're all on. That was a 9-page PDF that brought us all together today, 10 years ago. It's pretty amazing. But the early days were a little funky, a little weird and scary, because the early adopters of the technology, like in a lot of technical innovations that we've seen, were criminals. You know, using Bitcoin to buy drugs on Silk Road. We saw the Mt. Gox hack, and it was a little disheartening for retail investors or adopters to come into this space. And so those early days were a little tough. And then that made the pendulum swing from, crypto and Bitcoin is bad to this blockchain is good, and figure out ways to use the underlying technology for other business applications. And we saw this blockchain revolution, and even Don Tapscott wrote a book on this. And that got a lot of enterprise names and Fortune 500 companies exploring on POCs and trying to figure out their compass with respect to blockchain. Then we saw this massive Cambrian explosion, 2,000 projects, $20 billion raised with the ERC20 token on Ethereum. Very profound crowdfunding access vehicle for innovation in this space. And obviously now kind of came crashing to a halt last year in 2008, and we'll kind of unpack what this crypto winter means through a couple different lenses. And then on the horizon, we're seeing this STO, the security token offering, as a kind of a promising lily pad to step through this next phase of crypto. We'll talk about that some more. But this last year was a little strange. It was like Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, the worst of times, whereby the price with crypto market cap a year ago today was 700 plus billion. Now it's down 84%. Pretty profound. Regulators are trying to grapple with this technology. ICOs kind of came to a muted silence, and it's been tough in this space. But kind of taking a step back and trying to see what's really happening here, there are two flywheels at play, if you will. So there's this investment speculation flywheel, and then there's this blockchain utility flywheel. The speculation and the investment, and I say speculation investment purposely because some people are like, oh, it's like a pump and dump. It's like everybody's chasing these returns. For entrepreneurs, for people building this space, the investment speculation is incredibly important oxygen to bring these ideas and these projects to life. And so, much like in whether it's railroads or telephony or internet, the investment is a very critical piece of the equation. And we'll go through fits and starts, effervescence and bubbles, but it needs that kind of capital and that kind of fear and greed and speculation in order to burnish these new rails. On the other side, you have blockchain utility, and that's been relatively ho-hum. We see like very little bites of utilization, transactions, utility, people putting balance sheets on these particular networks, and that's still in formation. And so you have these two flywheels where most of the investment and speculation has been done at a retail level. What's changing there is now institutions are trying to figure out how they bite the apple of crypto. And so you're getting better custody, better wallets, some better regulatory clarity, not as good as it should be. And then you see the blockchain utility, you see innovation continue. And so once institutions come in, I think the flywheel starts to change behaviorally. And then once you get a bite and you see some transaction throughput on these blockchains, I think you have another step function in terms of growth and innovation. So right now, the opportunity is to build and kind of get ready for those institutional investors and continue to innovate on the blockchain side. And so people keep talking about this crypto winter, and being 84% down, yeah, it feels really chilly. But there's two things happening here. You have this dynamic between Crypto 50 and Fortune 50 companies. On the Fortune 50, and this is just in the last few weeks and months, where a lot of people are investing, engaging, and developing platforms in this space. You see Amazon building their blockchain strategy. They went full public on that. CME, CBOE, trading futures. Fidelity just launched digital asset services, so they want to tend to institutional clients to give them custody and trading. Big deal. Nice, ICE launched Backed, just raised $200 million backed by Microsoft. That's another platform just like Fidelity Digital Asset Services. Bank of America is on here for a particular reason, not because they're innovating, not because they're investing. They are the most prolific issuers and filers of patents in the blockchain space. So they kind of took a different tack, where instead of like developing POCs or engaging in this space, they're going down this legal path, which will be interesting to see how that plays out in this open source world. Then you see Microsoft has been prolific from the earliest days, and then you have IBM, which has been a big proponent of Hyperledger with enterprise customers, and taking Red Hat recently as an acquisition and kind of putting like the heart defibrillators on themselves to kind of find a new chapter in the book for IBM in this open source world. So we'll see how that plays out. So lots of investments, lots of innovation at this level. Pretty profound when you think about it. And then you look at the Crypto 50. So these are billion-plus scaled businesses in this space. A new enterprise customer, a new player has arisen in this space, and it's the Crypto 50. And it's everything from Bitmain being the biggest miner, Binance being the biggest exchange. You have Bloq raised $4 billion in a crowd sale, pretty profound. Coinbase recently valued at $8 billion. And then you have Cardano, some big protocols like Cardano and Quantum. And a lot of these, they're not standing still. A lot of these platforms and exchanges, they all have $1 billion, $100 million sidecar funds to invest in innovation, to make acquisitions. And you're starting to see that play out, where they're not just going to stick to what they've been doing up until now. They continue to innovate, continue to invest, and continue to build. And so with this crypto winter, seeing 80% downturns in this space now over 3 times. If I had a time machine, I could go back in time. The only thing I would do more is invest more and build more and hire more in this space. It's the best time to build when kind of most of the tourists get thrown out of the room, and the builders, the real investors that don't have their heads in the sand are left. And it's a great kind of normalization moment in crypto. And then in terms of these two worlds that are developing, you have the Fortune 50, the Crypto 50. A lot of them have different attributes that will give them certain advantages. Certainly the Fortune 50 has a brand, so if you're a big bank, etc. You have lots of users and customers, so that's another advantage. And then you have a regulatory advantage, which is profound in this space. So they could actually maybe even outpace some of the best players and companies in crypto if they adopt some of this tech and adopt some of these new rails. And then on the other side, you have the Crypto 50, which moves way faster, is native crypto. They sometimes pay employees in crypto and don't even have a bank account. And so it'll be interesting to see how these two worlds connect, how they collide, how M&A will play out over the near term, especially in this crypto winter where you have access to capital isn't as plentiful as it was the last year or two. So I think we're going to see a lot more connective tissue between these two worlds and certainly some friction as well. And the tokenization of things and the tokenization of assets is starting to become more of a flywheel kicking in. And one of the keystone pieces is, and it's not necessarily technically profound, where about 12 stablecoins have been funded and founded in the last year. And what that means is you have a bank statement that auditors will say, yep, you have $100 million in the bank account, and you have 100 million tokens. Not super profound from a technology standpoint, but very important from a settlement, from a taking friction out and having a unit of account when you're trading crypto. And that will spill over into payments and other ways in which we use crypto in everyday life, because if you want to buy Starbucks or a pair of jeans, it's a lot easier to do it with that than something that's a little bit more speculative. So I view that as not necessarily an end-all be-all. Stablecoins are going to change the world. They're a super important piece of infrastructure in this space that'll act as another on-ramp for more retail and more consumers to play. Loyalty is another one. Again, it's not necessarily like distributed compute or storage or distributed database. This is pretty simple, and it, again, will help adoption. Right now, points and loyalty, it's like you want to TNT that whole industry because they're not really much of an incentive, not a lot of gamification, and you don't really know what to do with these points. And I think crypto points, crypto tokens done in affinity and loyalty could actually make a big change in terms of adoption. And if you look at some of the networks that can do this, whether you're a basketball team like the Chicago Bulls, or you're a Marvel Comics character, or Kim Kardashian, or somebody that has a network of users, network of participants, that notion of points and affinity will be indistinguishable from a currency, because that in-network currency will buy you things, give you access, and kind of harness this market cap of that particular network. So I think that's going to be a really interesting piece as an adoption kicker to crypto. And then you have these traditional assets. Again, I don't necessarily get into this space to tokenize a hotel or a bar of gold or a cap table, but it's really important for Wall Street, for Hong Kong, Singapore, London, the current financial centers to tokenize things they understand. Having a Wall Street banker understand distributed computing, it's a big learning curve, and how to treat it, how to price it, how to analyze it. So traditional assets that get tokenized, I think will be another on-ramp for Wall Street and financial centers to get comfortable with tokens. And it's not just tokenizing a cap table. I think the way in which we, as users or participants in a company, get rewarded with equity that's tokenized, I think will become more and more of a thing. The better of a customer you are, you're going to share in some of that. And I think those mechanisms with tokenized equity will be more and more of a strategy for companies to engage users, not just have users buy stuff and then shareholders take all the spoils. Real estate's another one. Fractionalized real estate, to have a taxi driver in Indonesia, a goat herder in Ghana, a soccer mom in Brazil own a piece of the Empire State Building, is now going to be a thing, and also use that as an asset to leverage off of, to get credit off of. So I think the tokenization of real estate, and it's a massive asset class, over $220 trillion, is going to unlock a lot of value. Art. So, you know, and in the art way, I don't necessarily, you know, tokenizing of Picasso, a Monet, etc. is great. But think about the artist today that sells his artwork for X, and then a year later somebody buys it for 100X. You gotta feel bad for that artist. But what if you could embed certain things where the artist always gets 1% transfer fee every time somebody buys it, or keeps 5% of the artwork for himself, so as it continues to appreciate in value, that artist participates in that. So these are some of the structures and ways in which you could remodel the economics with tokenized assets. And so what happens when you do that? You have a lot better liquidity, access to capital, less transaction fees, you're able to trade 24/7, 365. The really big takeaway in doing that, going through that, is you're giving new form factors to investors. New exchanges, new wallets, intelligent apps to help you make decisions, and custody. And so all that infrastructure for traditional assets will play well into this crypto asset class that we're a part of today. Cryptocurrencies and this Web 3.0 asset class that's being built will help kind of usher that. So it's a very important stepstone in many ways. And so what's in store for 2019? I think there's going to be continued lack of regulatory clarity. I think regulators were trying to figure this out when the market was really hot. It's cooled off and it's given them some time to breathe. We do see some bright spots in the world. There's no coincidence why we're in Singapore. Singapore has been one of the thought leaders in trying to provide clarity for entrepreneurs and capital formation, and continues to do that. You have Switzerland and a few smaller geographies like Malta, Gibraltar, Liechtenstein that are also trying to figure that out. Because the US and some of the other markets, China, etc., is not as open today as they probably should be. So you're going to see a lot of jurisdictional arbitrage. You're going to see entrepreneurs forklifting their projects and companies to new geographies to build and scale their platforms, which can make a dent in Wall Street or Hong Kong or some of these current financial centers with that. So it's something to keep a close eye on. Adoption. This is a blowfish, which a lot of the adoption curves in this space are hard because you're managing private keys and sometimes it's like trying to flay your own blowfish. You hit the wrong land, things are going to go wrong. So adoption is always very kind of tough in this space. And with this kind of horizon of STOs, I don't think it'll be an STO-topia. I think it'll be a good way to ground ourselves into tokenization of the assets, traditional assets today, and build those training wheels and those on-ramps for the rest of this industry. And then the hype of yesteryear is gone. I think we're down to pragmatism, to building, to purpose, and really delineating what's going to be useful or not. So it's a good time to kind of right set and build a strategy in the space if you don't have one, or if you're building, it's a good time to just continue to build and innovate. So I'll leave it here. I got into this space because I felt like for the first time in my career, I could be part of something that's going to make that proverbial dent in the universe. And I feel like this is a lifetime opportunity for entrepreneurs, investors, and participants in this space. And thank you all for coming.